Off to a good start here. Kongdoo Monster on the blue side says, well, we don't want to see two of those champions again this time around.
Not willing to first pick the Galio means that won't be seen as a pick for Edge. They've been one of our better teams at pulling off the bouncy castle comp, and yeah, the Ezreal. So I wonder what they're fishing for here. If you look at win rates in the past, things like the Gnar has been a big priority for them. Gnar and GP for Roach, and it seems like they're just trying to force Roach onto something like the Ornn. We mentioned how he kind of had to default to it after a lot of his comfort had been banned away. So SKT so far targeting the top laner. I wonder if you even consider just banning something like Ornn, which seems weird with Ryze and other power picks available. But SKT seem to have a pretty clear plan, and with Kongdoo Monster on the precipice of 10 losses in a row in game score, not too much to respect on the side of Kongdoo Monster. SKT's final ban will be the Ornn.
Good call, Mr. Prophet. Taking away that pick from Roach.
Wasn't that the last guy?
No, you're the new one.
Hey!
I forget who that other guy was. What do you do for Roach here? Well, we're going to start off with some other picks. You were mentioning all these power picks that are left available. Zoe is one of them. We will see Edge on his Zoe once again. But again, stuff like Sejuani still available. The Ryze available for Faker.
Ryze into Zoe is just fine. Faker has also been loving the Kassadin. It'd be too risky here, in my opinion, so I would prefer to see the Ryze. Could also be a top lane Ryze, we should mention. It's been a big favorite. Vladimir is left open. I wonder if Roach will consider it. And yeah, a Jarvan takeaway. So Blossom, one of his previous Jarvan games wasn't too fantastic, but he's going to be jumping onto the Jarvan. It is undefeated, all things considered. And nice little flex pick here for Kongdoo Monster. Going to lock in the Camille. I know Raze has been practicing it in solo queue. We haven't seen any Camille from Roach just yet, so we'll see if Raze will be jumping on it again. And the Kalista hasn't been a winning pick for Soul, but of course is a tierless powerful AD carry.
That it is, and coming all this way, we are going to have Varus locked in. Funny to see the Sejuani that's been up towards the top this time around, just totally ignored in the first stages here after not being banned.
Sejuani hasn't been played to success by Raze, and my instinct is probably going to be jungle Camille, so they could still be a Sejuani ban here from SKT to deny it. But yeah, I mean, I believe Sejuani was close to 100% pick ban on the season, may even have been 100%. Don't have the stats in front of me, but was very consistently looked at, so surprised to see it looked over. Was the highest contested champion in Korea so far, but we're now in a new world on patch 8.3. And the Trundle ban suggests that it's going to be Roach on a tank, and they don't want to deal with Tal on his namesake, the Trundle, to answer it.
It's a good idea for you guys who have been living under a rock and not watching Korean LCK, Korean
Educate them, Valdez.
Tal, his name means Trundle. I'm going to play Trundle, right? So you want to take it away. That's what you mean by namesake. It's literally his name. They're not going to let him play it. And so we're also going to see the Tarek taken away as 3 supports get banned here.
Well, SKT had all the beef in game 1, and now they're going to get the Alistar in game 2. Bring out the battle cow. There he is. Aris, Alistar, some more initiation. They don't have a Galio this time, but Jarvan and Alistar can certainly do some AoE knockups. On the side of Kongdoo, looking for probably a top laner and a support, as we're expecting it to be Camille jungle. So waiting to see how they want to approach. SKT have a very balanced draft so far and can counterpick top lane as well. 1-3-1 possible with the Ryze. And for the side of Kongdoo Monster, still a little bit of ambiguity. Probably going to be Shen support. It's been the most common. In fact, it's not going to be Shen support. This is getting interesting. I tell a lie. Right now, it looks like Shen support Rek'Sai jungle and Camille top side.
Graph.
Oh, it is, certainly.
But looking at Cho'Gath, it is going to be locked in.
All right, so my first instinct correct. That nice trolling by Kongdoo Monster, but going to be top lane Cho'Gath here. That's why they banned away the Trundle. We actually see Cho'Gath do pretty well in terms of tank matchups into the Cho, but SKT considering a self-counter pick when it comes to lane, but certainly a decent option in team fights. It could also just be the ultra unkillable top lane matchup of Sion versus Cho'Gath.
Definitely liking the Sion here. They're going to lock it in, as we do have completed drafts now for both of these teams. Not a crazy big knock-up team on the side of SKT with the lack of Galio, but they still have a lot of engage here with the Alistar, the Jarvan, and the Sion on their side.
Yeah, looking to play front-to-back League of Legends here. Ryze and Varus on the closest target after the trio of initiation knockups from Sion, Jarvan, and Alistair. Plenty of backline access with Alistair and Jarvan being able to push past the front line. Kongdoo Monster have a little bit of everything going on. Good poke and siege from the Zoe in the mid lane. Bot lane not the strongest. That's kind of the biggest concern here is Shen's support against Varus Alistair. Could potentially be a lot of threat coming the way of Kalista. Unkillable top lane. And then I guess the biggest wildcard has to be Raze jumping on the Camille and see if he can actually make us a believer. If it wasn't Jarvan or Zach, so far it has been a failure for the side of Kongdoo Monster. And also the pick Camille in the LCK has been wildly up and down. We've seen a couple of great games. Spirit, probably the best of the jungle Camille's, but some of the other ones, whoo boy.
Well, there's a reason why we have Blossom playing for SKT currently, and the Camille you mentioned is part of it, as Blank had a very weak game on that pick. Raze, he gets another aggressive, engaged-style jungler. It's right down his alley, but he is going to give it a shot here this time around. Excited to see another Sion game here for Tal. Let's see if he can have a bit more of an impact in this game. Maybe some ganks in the mid lane, perhaps, onto that Zoe.
It's really nice balance draft from SKT. We'll talk about it more in-game. Bit more narrow for Kongdoo Monster, but if Camille can get rolling, maybe they can make us a believer of the Kongdoo Monster, finding a new way to win, short of the Jarvan or the Zac.
3 stars on the jersey, I mean 3 championships. They're looking for 3 wins in a row here at LCK. Coming off of their slump, let's see if they can do it jumping into game number 2 up against Kongdoo Monster. Here we go into game number 2. It is good to note that we're on match 41. We're nearing the halfway point before we do go into that second round robin here at LCK.
Wolf is back on the Alistair. He always had great mechanics, animation canceling and audio canceling on the cowbell. So bringing it out here, having a bit of fun. We don't need to talk. We don't need to add value to this cowbell.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just enjoying it.
I love how intently he's getting his cowbell on. Presented without comment.
Speaks for itself, Papa.
It does.
He was doing the nice 3-beat into 2-beat. It was good.
So seeing a red side start here from Blossom suggests some of that good old invading potentially onto the blue buff. If Camille uses a hook shot to DPS down the camp, some good things can happen. And Wolf actually predicts the level 1. It's comical, but also useful because it forces the freeze here. If you're able to actually get to the minion wave and have it aggro onto Wolf, he can then dodge into the brush, then it will aggro onto the minion wave and push towards the way of SKT's mid lane.
This is what we see out of Raze all the time. Faker is forced to blow his flash, but it's the level 2 gank. You see it a lot from jungle Camille. I'm actually kind of surprised that Faker wasn't playing a little bit back, but I like the response. Not fooling around, just flashing right away.
A lot of lane control here from SKT because of their ability to get access to the minion wave so early. Top side, we're watching this for some reason. We're going to stop watching it soon. Comet Sion again, so no Glacial Augment. I think we'll see more of that as the week goes on. I'm personally a fan of the Comet, and it's hilarious when you roar of the Slayer and get the Comet proc in, but still, there you go.
Nice little bit of chunk in there onto Roach. I was going to say that basically levels 1 through 3 are the only time where if someone makes a ridiculous mistake, maybe then we will see some action. But okay, speaking of action, a nice little level 2 engage down on the bottom side. Didn't get to see the engage, but no summoners blown by either side, just Soul getting low. That
was just Kongdoo Monster playing disrespectful. They were level 1 to level 2 there after the freeze. Whoa. And now SKT wants to start turret diving. Here we go.
Good response out of Kongdoo Monster. They saw them coming in from the mid lane, but level 3 from Faker and Blossom. They're coming
proxying
down. They are taking control of the bottom lane. This is their lane now. You can see you later, and you'll notice that Soul and Secret still level 1.
They're still level 1 at 3 minutes 15. Insane stuff. I love the team roam though. Faker
doesn't have his flash here.
Faker doesn't get hit by skill shots. He might get hit by a Camille.
He's going 1v2 for a little bit there, but now he's got Blossom on his side. These two definitely have to be careful. They both have their summoners up. Thankfully for Kongdoo Monster, neither of them having to blow them.
It's a multi-level plan by SKT. Wolf gets the very greedy freeze by entering the bot lane early. If you remember, we had a meta where people would rush to the brushes in bot lane just to fight for lane control because the freeze could be so powerful. That's a lot of metas ago, but Wolf was able to get the freeze. Then they hit level 2, and unfortunately Kongdoo Monster really misread the lane. They have Kalista and Shen. You can't be too aggressive with how weak that lane is early. And then from there, investing the time of their jungler and mid laner to heavily deny experience from the side of Kongdoo Monster. Interesting stuff. Obviously not going to sway the game, no gold lead or kills from it, but I love the mindset, and the aggressive mindset continues for SKT T1 on the bot side. Kalista's already going for a recall.
Yeah, she went back and picked up a cull, sold everything else that she had, also picks up a refillable, but definitely having a rough time so far. You'll notice that Bang getting the lead here in the CS on an early side of things.
He's back in the mid lane. Faker's flash still down. He also doesn't have cleanse anymore.
Well, he is going to be stunned up. That's the easiest trouble bubble of all time. There's the kill. First blood goes over to Raze on the Camille.
Nice pathing. They also had double control ward around the mid side. Faker had teleported into lane, of course, meant that he had no answer to another gank. Third time's the charm for Kongdoo Monster. Faker really only has himself to blame there. Yeah. Really nice gank timing, though, by Raze.
He switched his cleanse that he took early on into the teleport to get back to the lane that you were talking about. He's one of the only guys that is going to pick up the Unsealed Spellbook alongside the Zoe. You'll see what that can do. So Faker having a rough early game, and now Wolf running straight into Raze. This is going to be a 2-on-2, though. And we got Faker coming in here to make it a 3-on-2. Trying to get the knockup. He misses by inches. Seeker was thinking about helping out, but Kongdoo will just back off from that one.
Looks like Wolf was able to buffer in an auto attack when he went for the WQ to deny the blast plan. I don't think we'll get a replay of it, but it looked hella cool. In the mid lane, Wolf walks up, he's on a control ward, then it's turning on to Faker, they might just kill him.
Look at the damage coming out, what the hell was that? And they get another kill. Down he does go. Unfortunately, this time, he's got a lot of damage, but not much tankiness does Raze. So he does get taken out. The support's level 4 coming into the mid lane. I'm liking 8.3 so far, Papa. We got Sion coming on in. He's not going to get the stun, but he's going to get there first before the Cho. There's the knockup. Not onto the Zoe, though. Nice little dodge. And now we got Cho'Gath coming on in. Might be enough damage, but Secret and Ed's getting low too. And Blossom somehow makes it away. No level 6 here for the Cho'Gath. Behind the level 6 of Sion.
What is he fighting everywhere?
Okay. Getting low, no kills though.
Heal was used by Bang through all this pandemonium on the Rift. Faker finally has flash up, had to walk back to the lane for the second time. 2 kills onto Faker in the early game is the dream of every team that faces SKT T1, and crucially, it's Raze with both the kills.
Well, if you wanted to get your jungle Camille into a good spot, this is one way to do it. It's what you see a lot in the solo queue. It's part of their strength. At level 2, you have some intense engage with the red buff as well, and just lots of damage with the follow-up. So if you can return, it's very easy for a Camille to do so. You can definitely clean up some kills in the mid lane.
Go take a deep breath. Everyone was too excited at the start of this game. KT fans on both sides, so much roaming and fights around the river. Ryze has been able to stay competitive in CS, probably no surprise there, but not going to be as heavily punished. I mean, died twice and no damage onto the mid lane turret either. It's back on to Faker, because Raze is already level 6.
Yeah, Faker, he can't get out of this one, and stopwatch not going to help him. He does get out in the end of it all. Doesn't have a stopwatch, as in 8.3 you cannot combo it, but it's enough to get out of that one.
The first read always is that you're going to go down, but there was no CC to interrupt him left open. The bot side getting more damage onto Wolf. A lot of changes in the game right now in 8.3, but no change in the game plan from Kongdoo Monster. So aggressive in the early game, going to steal away the blue buff as well. He's just trying to find Faker at every opportunity. Didn't have to flash that time. But still, you know the plan is to continue to camp Faker. That means that Tal is happy to overextend a top side, but not to the tune of any sort of CS lead.
Yeah, what does it mean really, right? The Sion versus the Cho'Gath might chip away at that turret, but definitely the damage that Raze is doing in the mid lane will help out their team a lot more. So far getting the better edge of that one.
Does mean he can push in and wards. They're going to try to steal away the enemy blue buff. Faker has his flash up, already half health. I assume a paddle star. Did the dirty work there. A lot of map movement. Still going to be Camille walking up, and unless they outnumber, see if there's actually any kill threat onto Roach, just flashes down.
Well, it's Cho'Gath. He has his catalyst done, and he just walks away from that one.
Stopwatches have largely subsided, as you were mentioning. None on the side of SK Telecom T1, and only 2 on the side of Kongdoo Monster, so the days of 6 minimum are over. Praise the Lord, some more kills in the early game means we might actually be able to close these games pre-44 minutes, which was the average in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Edge picked up a redemption. That's usually going to be useful in the early game, but Blossom sees Raze.
He's sitting here waiting for that and actually interrupts as Raze is trying to get out of there. There's the catalyst, but the damage coming out from Zoe. They're going to look to turn it around, though. There's the kill. They want to take out this Jarvan, but they can't quite. And Wolf coming in from the bottom lane. Tal looking for blood here up against Edge. There it is, a double kill for our buddy, the Scion. He may take a bit of damage, does not get into the Realm Warp in time. So close, but a double kill for our Scion, who does go down in the end.
The first roam from Wolf was the reason that worked from SKT. Another super aggressive move from them. Means the kill score is all evened up, 3-3. Zoe finally goes down, but Kongdoo Monster are going to be able to push and reset. So when it comes to where the lanes are at, pretty decent stuff. Here's the replay. At the start of this, you're right, Raze is actually just trying to hookshot away. Doesn't even know that Blossom is there. But then from there, they turn onto Raze. Blossom takes a huge chunk. He actually picks up the Trouble Bubble going for an EQ because Alistair is there to guarantee further kills. They're going to get the 2-for-1, but a bit of youthful exuberance from Tal, who decides that he really wants to turret dive and guarantee the kill onto Zoe. Meanwhile,
he almost got out, but the question is, will Faker get out? Doesn't have that. He's got Wolf, though. Nice delay. Headbutt is trying to save his life here, though. The blasting plant gets Faker away. But what will it mean for Wolf? He's going 1v4, but he is an Alistair. He will get away. Chain of Corruption onto Raze. They're looking to turn it around. It's not enough damage, but the saving Private Faker mission does work out for SKT.
Pro tier status confirmed for Wolf. Gave up ostensibly his life, but in the end just ult and flash. Still 2 tools, wanted to keep his mid laner alive after Faker's been consistently trained down by Raze basically every time. Even his hookshot cooldown was available, let alone the ultimatum. Getting more and more chip damage onto this mid lane turret, trying to make it a very long lane for Faker. A Blossom there to pick up the CS. Turret will live for another day, and Faker probably just wishing he would get a bit of peace in the mid lane. None so far.
Now he's not going. He's got no flash. So at this point, if Zoe's on the same page with the Camille and the Hextech ultimatum, could be another secured kill for mid lane.
So the question is, what do you do if you're Blossom? You can't just spend all of your time mid lane. You have to visit your camps. You'll notice a ward onto the Wolves camp gives a lot of information to Faker about what pathing is expected from Raze. The longer that camp goes up, the more likely Raze is on the bottom side of the map. That's why you'll see him cheat to top side for 2 reasons now, given that Blossom is there as well. They're looking to turn onto Edge. This will be risky. They're going very, very deep, but they will pull out.
That was millimeters away from the Cataclysm range. We got some fighting down on the bot side. Shouldn't be any kills down here. But you'll notice also, you were talking about the expected pathing from Raze. He should get out of this one, but there's 2 control wards on the bottom side too, so it's even more so vision control for Kongdoo on the bottom side to allow Raze to come in, but it makes it very predictable.
As a jungler against Hextech Ultimatum and the Zoe, the most you can do is ward up, say, Wolves and Krugs, or so Wolves and Raptors, and then from there, that should be enough information to help the mid laner. Can you just keep the mid lane alive at all costs? No, that's not the reality against the ultimatum. But you were right, the vision was bot side. That's why Kongdoo Monster can happily turn onto an Ocean Drake. And SKT just trying to hope and pray for Faker to live till his flash is back up. Rod of Age is still not purchased. It'll be a late first purchase, about 13 minutes so far into the game, but he's of course had a whole lot of hell to deal with in the mid lane.
It's one of those situations in solo queue where you're like, well, my jungler's not going to do this for me, so I guess I have to be ultra passive. And then the Zoe gets out of hand, and then everybody blames you for it. But it's definitely a super oppressive mid-jungle combination, kind of the 2-on-2 that goes in, mid-jungle versus mid-jungle. definitely favoring Kongdoo in the early stages, and we're seeing the result of it so far.
So let's kind of look at SKT with a critical eye of what they wanted to do with this draft, because they've kind of been on just emergency, right? They've been just trying to keep things stabilized after the early game. There's been such creative pathing from Raze to disrupt what was looking like a very solid draft from SKT. Whenever you see the Rise, you can be confident that a team wants to play 1-3-1. I was on record as saying that Rise Gnar was kind of the god tier side lane comp, where you had confidence of Gnar to win every top lane matchup, and then Rise to rotate around at the time with stopwatch and other safety. But Sion and Rise is a pretty close approximation. Sion doesn't lose any lane super hard. He goes at minimum even. There's some lanes where he can actually do particularly well in, but he's very unkillable and also has so much AoE that he can push on demand. EWQ will clear any wave, regardless of where it's at. So it's still going to be a 1-3-1 plan, but to get the 1-3-1, they kind of want to play the tailored approach here, SKT, of playing side lanes, of taking down a side lane turret, rotating Faker with Rod of Ages to the side lane, and playing from there. That's what's been denied by all the pandemonium in the mid side, and might just be a mid lane turret going down, as we're right now about 20% HP for Faker.
The pressure will eventually push on in, and Faker going for a, well, he was going for a back, but now he's got Blossom nearby. They definitely do not want to let that mid turret go down. You'll notice that the turrets on the side of Kongdoo all very healthy at this point in time. But notice Wolf also cheating towards the mid lane a lot too. So much pressure relief coming out of SKT, and even with the Scuttle Crab helping out the mobility boots Alistar get to mid lane a little bit faster. And speaking of which, they're going on to edge here. Shen ultimate comes on in. That's a lot of burst damage. Blossom not able to get out of that one as three members of Kongdoo engage onto one and get a kill.
And it's just a misread on the map by SKT. What they want to do is to transfer their top side control to the bot side so they can play around Drake, so they can play around threatening a bot lane roam with level 2 Realm Warp. You can't just do that. You can't just decide, now we own the bot side, because all the wards and control have been there for Kongdoo Monster for the better part of 15 minutes. So Blossom misreads the situation, thinks he can be aggressive in an area where they're weak, and they might actually double down and lose a lot on the bot side. They already lost the mid lane turret.
Yeah, and this game looks very different compared to game number one. I'm sure people after game number one were saying 2-0, easy for SKT. But you think about the things that have helped Kongdoo win this game so far, and it's another aggressive jungler with CC in the mid lane for Kongdoo Monster that's really opening this one up for their team.
It's been a good early game. Cannot deny that Raze's been much better than expected on the Camille. First time in competitive play on the Camille, making us a believer. The playstyle, of course, very similar. It's just that he has even kind of greater reach than the previous jungler he was playing, the Jarvan. You can be even more creative with the hook shot on the Camille. But the flash at level 2 with his previously trademark Jarvan level 2 gank, now with the Camille level 9. Sheen already a burst build from Raze. Speaking of burst.
2-on-2 once again. It's getting low. The flash on in and make that a 3v2. Trying to get onto edge here.
Oh.
What a play! Really nice way to get out of there, but he might go down to this ignite. The last tick is going to do it. Wolf picks up the kill with the Alistar. Blossom, or rather Faker, in a little bit of trouble here, but now we got Bang in the party too. Faker gets out of there. They're turning this one around big time. That should be another kill here onto Secret, who's trying to get on in there, but actually does get away.
One by one they go by Kongdoo Monster. Gives extra kills over the side of SKT. I gotta admit, Edge deserved better. The portal jump dodge on the Pulverize was sick, but just died to an ignite after everything. In the top side, Tal just stayed to push. Both top laners did not have their teleports to be there. Jungle proximity has been massive for Blossom, but it hasn't been ganking so much as trying to relieve pressure on the mid lane. What do we say SKT wanted to do? Find a way to get Faker into the side lane, to take down a turret, and to open up the map. The map is confirmed open, and now Kongdoo Monster cannot afford to make another conga line of mistakes where they just go in one by one and get taken down by SKT, because the game plan for SKT is going to finally start to kick in.
Yeah. I always like to call MVPs early before we actually show them here at Spo TV, but if SKT do end up winning this game, props to Wolf with the mobility boots, Alistar, getting into every single fight and making that dangerous Zoe Camille combination not look as strong with his presence coming in before Shen. hard thing to do. But
Oh,
now,
look at that.
well, it's 4 members against Faker. You guys should know the answer to that.
Very long-range trouble bubble. Sure, some people triggered in chat, something about 0.25. Not sure what that's a reference to, but...
Look at the score too, 0.25. It's perfect, it's too good. There you go. Well, we're looking for a counter engage here, but actually Ray's going deep. He's got Shen on top of him. The double taunt, that's gonna be at least 1 kill, make it 2. TP coming in, but now he's gonna cancel that as Wolf also goes down. Eventually, along with the turret, Kongdoo Monster, big turnaround on their side.
Yeah, they take down Faker, and now the Conga Lions and SKT one rolling in. Tal had the teleport, chose to cancel it. Wasn't 100% sure if the turret would go down, but was 100% sure he would have eventually died with all of his teammates taken down. Tal's teleports have been a little bit late, as we know, in recent memory. He'll get a bit of turret damage down, but I don't believe he has Demolish, and if he does, it's not available right now. It's going to take a lot of time to actually work down that turret. Speaking of turrets getting worked down, Faker chose to go mid lane with a teleport. He might just die again.
No vision down there. He can't see them, and he doesn't have the stopwatch this time, so he's not going to be able to do that on 8.3. Even if he did, he probably would have gone down a little bit too far up the lane, and he gets taken out again.
You need the CC to arm from the trouble bubble, so you can outplay when the E is down, from the hookshot is down from the Camille, but the trouble bubble hit that time. He wasn't getting out. Faker started this all and ended it all. We'll start with the replay here. He's recalling in lane.
Not the first time we've seen this
I was
happen
going to say,
Faker.
I don't think he was watching his screen. It feels so weird to accuse him of this again and again, but you look at the track record, it's happened multiple times. Wasn't going to get away, and then from there, it's just unfortunately SKT doing the conga line. As they go in 1 by 1, Wolf goes for the engage. They feel like they're in a great position, but they just dive onto Bang, take him down in the back line. Wolf is, for once, no longer at the action. He's completely split away from the action. The teleport is cancelled. And a big gold lead to Kongdoo Monster because they even kill Faker a second time on the back end of all of that.
It's pretty intense, and I mean they did have no vision in the river. They had no idea what was going on, but it was just a greedy back, and he gets caught for it. Speaking of getting caught, Blossom in a bit of trouble. They're looking to turn on to the Alistair of Wolf, who's forced to pop his ultimate. He's going to get low, though. That ultimate doesn't last forever, as he eventually is going to get taken out here in the jungle.
Are we sure Trouble Bubble has a cooldown? I know people are talking about the other ability, but 3 of them onto the cow. Finally a kill, even through the ultimate. Wolf had been going very quickly, as you can see, for a Righteous Glory build. But speaking of going very quickly, Kongdoo Monster just turning on to Baron. It's 2-item Callista already, and a Cho'Gath to secure. This might just be Baron to the side of Kongdoo Monster.
Yep, along with the Blade of the Rune King. They're looking for it, but Faker, trying to realm more pin, decides against it. Here comes Blossom, looking for the pick. Will he get it? No, he does not. It is going to be against that Callista, of course. The Ren does come in. They're looking to pick up some more kills on the bottom side, but they cannot. But at least they pick up 1 along with the Baron.
Well, that was not the world's best Rend and Smite there from the side of Kongdoo Monster. I believe Feast and Rend. Actually 45 HP on the Baron before the Rend finally came through the Callisto. So there was an outside chance of a steal from Blossom. But now it does heavily push the game to the side of Kongdoo Monster. The gold lead 7,000, and Ocean Drake not likely to change anything. Now the turret goes the way of Kongdoo, and there's so much snowball in their item builds. 2-item Callista ages ago. He's going to have an extra item finished when she goes to back now. The Cho'Gath also threatening the back line pretty extensively. Bang, nowhere near finishing his item because he just hasn't been involved in 6 kills like his opposing number. And look who it is, the MVP man of so many games in the early parts of the season is back and making us a believer of his Camille.
He's been part of 10 of the 11 kills that Kongdoo Monster has so far. He's really just always in a great position to make that Camille look OP. Everybody used to talk about how strong her kit was, and even after being tuned down, we still see her around in LCK. And when you watch games like this, you begin to become a believer in that Camille and what it can do from the jungle. Spirit, another guy, made it look quite strong.
And now there's issues for SKT. I really like their comp in this game. I think it actually stacks up to Kongdoo Monster well as well in the 5v5. But skirmishing has been so skewed the side of Kongdoo Monster after they've just ganked Faker mercilessly again and again in the mid lane, that now we just have huge item leads because Kongdoo Monster 2v2, 3v3'd SKT to death in the first 23 minutes to the tune of an 8,000 gold lead. And now a trouble bubble hits, and Sion's not going to be there to tank the entire time, wants to spend a lot of time in the side lane. Everyone else dies to one rotation from the Zoe as she continues to pile on items. They're playing multiple lanes, and SKT already being stretched so thin.
The relentless push, rather. Oh, we are going to have an engage here, though. Blossom disappears off the mat. See you later, as he tries to Cataclysm in and just gets erased.
Cataclysm into silence, into dead was how that one read. Wasn't able to actually finish the EQ. Wanted to engage for his team, but they're so far behind in gold against a Baron buff. I wasn't a huge believer in that one being pulled off, and Kongdoo Monster going to keep pushing. They want to break the base on the first Baron buff.
Might just be able to, now that it's 5v4 especially. The push coming on in as they go. There's the Demolish proc from Secret, and into the inhibitor comes Kongdoo Monster. SKT not looking for an engage now, but they are dodging all the poke out of the Zoe. That will be the first inhibitor that goes down up against SKT.
SKT were the one to give MVP their first win after their lost streak. They're looking like they're going to be the same benefactor for Kongdoo Monster, and just giving up a game win after a 9-game losing streak for Kongdoo. Raze's early game has been all the difference between the two teams. SKT have never been able to stabilize and look for the 1-3-1 they drafted for because Faker was so far behind the power curve. He's hitting items now, but they're so far behind in gold. 10,000 at 25 minutes. Every engage we see from Blossom is just ending up in disaster. And predictably, SKT are outnumbered, but there's a deep teleport coming in. Here's Roach as well.
Yep, just needs to get a slow into a knock-up, and that will be the end of Faker. It's going to be the taunt that comes out first. Faker's still on the run, though, but everything being used to try to kill this Ryze, who does get away. In the end, they finally have a good fight for SKT, but they just don't have enough items or enough damage as they meekly back away, but at least they saved the life of Faker.
10,000 gold behind, not giving up a single kill with multiple ultimates invested by Kongdoo Monster is a victory for SKT. It's not one that feels good, it's not one that's reflected in the gold lead, but it buys them a bit of time and a bit of confidence after 25 minutes to forget for SK Telecom.
See what they can do after burning a bunch of ultimates.
Those Demolish procs, man. Oh boy.
You do a lot of damage. We'll see what happens when Baron and Elder get buffed. If that change does come through. And, well, Kongdoo Monster decide against pushing up in the top lane for now. They just want to get some vision down, make sure they don't get flanked. They know the small weakness that they have, but their ultimate's down for now. Blossom taking a bit of a chunk.
Sion doesn't take chunks.
No, he just burns his shield, I suppose. Not half bad at clearing the wave, actually, just because of how tanky he is.
EWQ, as I said, 3 AoE pushing abilities. His ult is AoE, but he's not going to use that to wave clear. But comfortably there, able to, again, buy some time, and all SKT can hope to do now is to delay. The next Baron is at 1 minute 45. If they can actually control their red side jungle, maybe they can delay the Baron being started. We already saw that despite there being Kalista Cho'Gath, there was a small window for a steal, so SKT trying to find their footing, trying to close the gold lead, and desperately trying to get some items onto Banger. Is only at 2 items. Soul, his opposing number, actually has threat onto Jarvan and Sion as well. They're already finishing the Lord Dominic's regard, so the difference between the two AD carries is the biggest problem for SKT, because they want to play 1-3-1, then turn it into teamfight. For now, teamfight looking impossible.
You also have to mention the carry from the jungle, the Camille, now with the Trinity Force, doing tons of damage already, having a fantastic early game. But you look at the difference in the gold, and you'll say, okay, that's all right if you're looking at 36 minutes, but not 26 minutes. No. As we are sitting here for Kongdoo Monster.
Super greedy snowball build from Raze, kind of how you have to go as a Camille jungle, and there's no point going Cinderhawk. Warrior, Trinity Force, into Sterix. Basically the I want to carry a solo queue build, but very useful in this scenario. If they can delete Bang or Faker at the start of a fight, there's going to be damage concerns whenever there's only 2 threats. So that's the approach here from Kongdoo Monster. For now, being a lot more patient. When you have a gold lead, easier to do, and every time Edge hits a bit of poke, you'll see Kongdoo Monster's tanks peek up a little bit and consider that big engage.
Kongdoo Monster party bushing here on a control ward, just trying to bait someone in. They know that there's no vision really for SKT around the Baron, so.
Just a one ward we can see above the Baron pit, but nothing on the Baron.
Yeah. See if they want to go for it. Kongdoo Monster on the earlier push, even though they're so far ahead, decided against going for that top turret. Just looking for some poke and an engage. They're going to engage here onto Tal, who again, he is a Scion, so he doesn't really take damage in this game.
He's the one person who can face check. Another thing the Scion can do from behind is walk up to a brush, press W, and happily put down vision or try to clear vision. So Blossom not so lucky though.
Yep, poor guy.
He's
he gets
dead.
caught by the Hextech ultimatum, and yep, just trying to clear a ward, gets killed.
Shouldn't have been there, but again, this is what we expect with Blossom. From behind, going to look a little bit ordinary. Tal continues to walk up. No Baron started yet by Kongdoo, but here's the start. They don't have a smite now. What will SKT do? Because the Baron's looking impossible.
I mean, I think you just have to give this one up.
Yep.
Are you going to go in 4v5
Nope.
when you have no way to steal it? The answer is no. As they even pull off the Cho'Gath, not needed. Just come back to push back the wave as Kongdoo Monster. I saw one guy in the Twitch chat saying, quote me on this, Kongdoo Monster's going to win 2-1. But
that guy is looking more like a savant than you would have imagined.
he's happy now, I'm sure, as Kongdoo Monster is coming on in. There were definitely a couple of people that were like, oh, 2-1 SKT. Not a bad prediction.
I think with how Game 1 went and how SKT's win over KSV was fanciful, but we're seeing a bit of a crash back down to earth. I think if this was a quick 2-0 for SKT, then people would have once again be setting their sights on an unlikely SKT Spring victory. But for SKT, the much more achievable goal right now is make playoffs. And I think they still very much are in the hunt for that, but make top 2, make top 3, be regular season champions, which is always the expectations for SKT. Clearly still quite a few kinks to work out before that can be an achievable goal for the new squad.
LCK just gets harder every year, man. I mean, Kingzone coming on in, Afrika now in second place.
Looking great. KT
also looking even better than last year. You got the top 3 like that in KSV, somewhat questionable, but when they're on their game, they're really good. I mean, it's a rough league to win.
Yeah, second series could provide a lot. Are we going to see a big engage here from SKT? They're still over 10,000 gold behind. It's so risky to initiate.
Well, they have a nice chain of corruption coming on in, but the shield from the Shen is going to help out. Redemption as well, keeps them alive. Was looking hopeful for about 0.01 seconds there for SKT.
Now, Kongdoo Monster could just go to the mid lane and take the naked inhibitor, but they're staying here against huge wave clear from SKT. The Roar of the Slayer pushing away a Baron minion is actually super relevant, as you can see.
Yeah.
Buying a lot of time, but eventually the turret will go down.
And, you know, Sion's tanky, but is he really that tanky? We got a bit of a bouncy castle here. As low members from Kongdoo, they're trying to do what they can, but it's not enough. 2 members go down here from SKT. As Soul gets low, but it's just not enough to take out this team. They're going to take out one inhibitor, go for a second. They're not going to go for the end just yet here.
Yeah, Soul was able to kite so well in the backline, fell low, but those extra items aren't there. That extra AD or AP is not there to actually assassinate down the backline, and Kongdoo is looking for the end.
They are now Faker forced to come on in. It's 3v5. They're down 13,000 gold as it looks like SKT has no hope of coming on into this one. Nice dodge on the flash there. Looking to take out Raze, and they do finally do that along with Secret. They might be able to hold this one and not go down. Unbelievable double kill here from Faker on the rise. Keeps SKT's very small hope alive. They're going now for Soul. Should be enough damage. The Realm Warp coming on in. At least Soul will be taken out as SKT will not die just yet.
They also have to watch for the minions here. The minion wave respawns at the right time, so they won't lose the game at this point, but is it going to actually be a turning point in the game, or just a bit of extra time for SKT can talk about future games? Inhibitors down for over 4 minutes, as SpoTV's overlay shows us. They thought they could end, but no threat onto Bang after Raze messed up his engage. Watch here, the hookshot flash attempt from Raze doesn't actually close down Bang in the backline. That's who he was going for, but you called it. Great flash response there, predicting Raze's engage. The angle from Raze was so preposterous that it was kind of obvious he was looking for a flash engage. Well respected, and then Roach, Soul, and Edge were all caught with very low health bars. The teleport comes through. You'll notice that he also uses ultimate to get through the CC there. You won't get to see it, but just trust me. Trust Papa. He's honest there.
He's cast a lot of games of League of Legends.
He ulted through the Rupture, which was cool. But from there, they get some kills, but the gold lead still over 11,000. SKT go back. Bang finally has 3 items, but doesn't feel like it's enough. He needs a Giant Slayer stat, like right now. There's some super tanky members, like the Cho'Gath and Secret. You can tell by the fact that Demolish is basically one-shotting turrets.
We got 2 members on the side here of Kongdoo that have the Demolish, so definitely doing a nice bit of damage. And here's that inevitability we were talking about. Kongdoo Monster still very far ahead. They have 2 pushing waves they can slow push down,
okay.
But SKT, they're not going home without a fight here. They're going onto the back line, trying to get onto Raze, but the stopwatch coming on in, able to save his life for now, but look at Faker trying his best. He is going to be able to get everybody so low, and Bang in the background is doing the damage. SKT, they're not going to go down yet.
What about the base, though? They have to get back to the minions as well. So much happening.
Raze trying to delay it, but it looks like Bang will get back. Not able to stop the backs here, as Blossom will dodge that as well and go back and save the base. So SKT, they're not going to lose the game just yet, guys.
And this is why we were confident about SKT's 5v5 in an even game. It hasn't been an even game, but the flank from SKT, from Wolf predictably, who's had a great game, especially at the start when his team was falling around him, was able to actually win a team fight 11,000 gold plus behind. They are still way behind. It's just ulting between minion waves here is Tal, but they have so much engage, and if Bang can free auto, good damage as well. Kongdoo Monster are still very likely to win this game, but there's still a pulse. SKT fans will be so happy to see that even with the rookies and Blossom not having a great game this time, there's still so much character left in SK Telecom T1.
Yeah. Anyone who's played solo queue knows that even when you're miles ahead, you can still throw the game. But I feel like in this game, as you were saying, it's not Kongdoo Monster throwing, it's SKT making the incredible plays. Namely Wolf
only comes into vision as he's looking to initiate with the Righteous Glory he had earlier. And this was almost a wipe. Add an extra item onto Bang, and they probably wipe the floor with Kongdoo Monster. Doesn't end up happening here, but it's a win until they have to pull back. The minions were, for once, in a position to allow this sort of aggression and not just have the minions decide the game. Speaking of game deciders, Elder's already started. It's falling low, and there's nothing SKT can do.
Got to give it up. That's still 10,000 gold lead here for Kongdoo now with the Elder Drake. They can wait for the Baron that's about to spawn in 20 seconds, too. Looks like they will be going for that one. So this is the real question. Inhibitors will be up. But again, you're going up against 2 huge objectives and a team that is still very far ahead. You need another miracle engage from the side of SKT.
The minion wave still continues to be pushed up. Wolf is in enemy lines. He's already been spotted. They know he's here. They should turn onto him here, Kongdoo. Just train down the Alistar.
He's
fast.
Will. He definitely is.
He needs a minion to W onto, but the minion wave's too far away. He's done. Or is he?
Okay, they're trying to help out from behind, but SKT, they want to get onto Raze here, who's actually alone for now. They save his life. They're going in onto the Camille, but it's questionable at this point. Just now Blossom is going to be engaged on. This is a messy one, but in the end, Blossom will trade his life to save the cow, which does mean that the Baron is now going to go to Kongdoo.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the trade you want to make. You understand the no man left behind approach, but they back away. They can fight up both their inhibitors, so they can actually try to find a pretty neutral place to force a fight, which didn't seem like a great thing moments ago, but if Alistar finds a way to get into the backline, has Flash available for the next fight likely, then anything's possible. There is still a gap close onto the no Zonia's Zoe and also the Callista with just the QSS that could lead to a successful fight from the side of SKT. Kongdoo Monster have not been tested in these late game fights. They haven't gotten this far in games. They haven't been still competitive at 40 minutes, let alone at over 10,000 gold lead. Alistar once again out of vision.
He's carrying...
But Raze is smart this time.
Yeah.
Raze is looking for the flank.
The pings came in. They know the area of approach here, the angle of approach
Fool
for
me
the
once,
cow.
fool me twice.
Yeah. Well, what can they do now? They got to go for a straight-up engage.
Flashes up on both carries. Should be impossible for them to get the engage they want, but SKT, they're still looking.
Tal, he's tanky. He is Scion, but he is low. as he does go down. Keep in mind that Kongdoo Monster, they're going for the hardest wave to push first in the top lane with the turret still available, but with all the poke that's come out, and wow, okay, Demolish is pretty good. Along with all the damage they got, they are going to be able to take out finally this inhibitor. I'm sure SKT, they would like to have something like an Azir at this point to try to delay the game a little bit longer. They
do have double Warmog, so they don't actually have to go into base completely. Blossom's going to be spotted on the flank. Kongdoo Monster, as we can see, much more heads up in playing their flanks, not allowing any access to Jarvan or the Alistar when it comes to backline threat. But they choose to back away. They're going to once again try to get their minion waves in order. That push was not against downed inhibitors, so much longer lanes for them to pick up. Buys time, buys time. The gold lead is still there, but it's getting less and less relevant as we get closer to 6 items and 40 minutes.
Very true. Love the tenacity here from SKT. They're not giving up whatsoever. They're looking for creative engages and ways to win team fights from behind. How are they going to do it? There it is. They're going out to the Camille. Can they burst her? Yes, they do. Camille disappears. Raze is out of the fight for now, but he does get back with the GA. Or no, he does not. He's out of this one. They're trying to engage onto this. Secret is going to go low too. Realm Warp coming on in. They want to get another pick. That's 4 members of SKT who take out another member. Now it's 5-on-3. And they make it happen. SKT, the miracle comeback is happening,
because
guys.
They've been able to cap out the items, and Kongdoo Monster haven't been able to close the game. The super frontline and Bang and Faker both hitting 6 items. Only a item completion away is Bang after being so far behind earlier in the game. We're going to watch the replay here. The start of it is looking decent, but the Varus ultimate onto Raze. We said already he gone the solo queue build. Big damage, but no tankiness. Dies very quickly. Traded in trade for Sion, but they still have backline threat. There's no threat onto Bang, and SKT have the better front-to-back team fight comp. They're able to fight 5v5 with Varus and Ryze hitting the enemy front line better than the side of Kongdoo Monster, who want to poke with the long range coming through from the Zoe. Closing out games with the Zoe short of getting a true one-shot and making it a 5v4 can be more difficult than you'd be imagining. And we end up seeing SKT still in the game, and suddenly the gold lead does kind of mean nothing.
I'm still in awe as to how Bang threaded the needle to hit Raze. I don't even know how that was possible. It was just the tip of Secret and Roach moving out of the way to secure that kill. It's going to be a lot harder from now on, as he does have the GA now.
And it's just a fun thing to consider is, where is the gold lead now? Because we know there might be a gold lead for Zoe and Kalista, but it doesn't matter, right? 6 items on all the carries. There's a huge gold lead. Look at the items between Raze and Blossom. Blossom just has, I'm a tank, and that's all he has, right? But if you look at the side of Raze, if he gets trained down at the start, doesn't matter how much damage he has, or the Guardian Angel, the Trinity Force. So he's able to fill his role, Blossom, on a much lower gold income. Wolf has no items compared to Secret, but he has Alistar ultimate to always be tanky and relevant in a fight. So the gold lead means much less because of the exact champions involved in this game.
How will Kongdoo Monster make this work? They've got all the vision control on the left side.
Top lane minions eventually will push in, so they're going to start waiting. They want to draw someone, preferably Faker, to the top side. Next minion wave. Okay, now's the time where SKT has to make a decision. You'll notice at the top of your screen, Ryze has to back away.
They have to go for it. The engage still comes in with the Chain of Corruption, as we do see the Sonya's coming on in, but there's that engage. They get onto the back lane. They get the Kalista, and down she goes. Another engage here that makes it work for SKT. The Realm Warp procced early. That's going to be 1 kill. It doesn't get off. They want to get more here, but again, just 2 more kills for SKT. They got to go back and defend, but they're making it happen, Papa.
Yeah, the 2-for-1 again, and the game continues. SKT has played so many of these comically long games. They played the 94-minute game. They played the 70-minute plus game. They win 5v5s front to back. It doesn't usually happen when you're against a Cho'Gath, because in the 5v5 meta, Cho'Gath just feasts the tank. We're seeing Sion die, but there's still Blossom and Wolf getting in the face of Kalista and Zoe. And consider those champions. You can see on the screen, I don't need to talk you through this, but consider Kalista and Zoe. What was the thing about Kalista in the late game? Well, she can't get damage past the tank line. She's not getting Ren sets. What can she do? Zoe's a poke champion. She's also not going to be doing damage to her front line. Only Cho'Gath has really good front-to-back team fighting on the side of Kongdoo Monster, whereas Ryze and Varus, excellent front-to-back team fighters. The Wolf on the Headbutt Pulverize is on point. and they're just not able to get any value out of how much damage Raze does, he's irrelevant.
That he is. You were talking about the headbutt pulverize. That was what I was looking for, to how he engaged onto the Kalista. And it was just one auto attack jump forward from Soul, and that's all Wolf needed. It was a split-second decision, and he gets the engage.
And now, actually, SKT are winning this game because Kongdoo Monster have no flash on Kalista and Zoe, so they can't fight. There's no way for them to be maneuverable enough in any sort of a 5v5. They kind of have to just hang back until flashes are available on their carries. Carries for SKT both have flash up. So Kongdoo Monster, if they play with fire, they are going to get burned at this point in the game.
How far we have come to get to this position. I mean...
He was trouble bubbled, but still the E went off, so it looked like no animation.
Yeah.
Some budget League of Legends animation there. That went to the wrong studio. Oh, Wolf messed up his combo. That's why they wanted to fight.
First time in the game.
You get one, but this is the time where they desperately want to fight. We'll notice that Soul will have his flash up just about now. So 2 seconds away, roughly, from the flash being up. Zoe does not, but all three inhibitors down. Deep teleport.
There it is. Raze, he's engaging onto Bang. They want to take that DPS out of the fight. No more front to back. There it is. The Cho'Gath comes in with the face, and they take out the DPS of SKT. That should be enough here as they want to get onto Faker. A double kill now from the Cho'Gath. Blossom not tanky enough, and Kongdoo Monster, after 5 fights in a row, they finally are able to end the game.
Somehow the Cho'Gath backline access. What a great teleport to answer it. Nothing Bang could do. The game ends, and Valdez, we're getting the third.
It's going to happen, Papa, somehow, some way, after the insanity of game number 2. Are we going into another one? Kongdoo Monster make things interesting with the game win. I can't wait to see what game 3 looks like.
They were having so much of a struggle to win 5v5 because of the team comps. Cho'Gath never had access onto the backline until a great teleport onto the Raptor camp gave them access to Bang, who was free hitting in every fight previously, not this time out. And the good early game work finally only just gets closed out by Kongdoo Monster. SKT will not 2-0. Kongdoo Monster will not go down 10 games in a row. They eventually do lose. And while the final game, again, you'd say advantage SKT with how much they were able to stabilize, and if they can have a better early game. Let's see if Raze, who will probably take a Camille ban, can find that level of an early game again, because he is what this team needs to actually find their footing to be relevant into the mid to late game.
I agree with you about the ban. SKT definitely has to do some thinking about that early mid game and the amount of engage and how they can avoid it this time around. If it takes bans, if it takes more passive play, they will have to find a way to not get down 10,000 gold at 25 minutes. Let's take another look at exactly how this game ended.
Yeah, Cho'Gath's in the base, goes for the teleport, no red pings onto it. Hextech ultimatum guarantees positioning, and then flash, feast. Lots of gameplay involved there. We had Zoe and Cho'Gath in the same game, what's to say, but that was the thing that could never happen previously. Really nice taunt flash also coming through from Secret. Both carries down, SKT's game down. A valiant defense. They were behind 10,000 gold at 25 minutes. It went late, but not enough to get SKT to 2-0.
I guarantee game 3 should be a fun one, guys. We'll jump into that one after a quick commercial break. We'll see you soon.